Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Quite a chilly day, but very fresh. Great to be outside, skipping rope. This is my third jump rope session after having not skipped rope in over 5 months due to tearing some ligaments in a sport-related incident. So today, I set my timer for just over 20 minutes before coming outside. I had already loosened up my body, loosened up my ankles, warmed up my feet by doing some toe taps, for example. Set my timer for, as I said, just over 20 minutes. And my plan is to skip like this at a relatively low speed for the entire duration until the alarm rings and turns off the camera automatically then. I'm using cross ropes, half-pound rope, so the rope itself is somewhat heavy. I can already feel my shoulders being engaged and slightly fatigued. So my left shoulder right now, I can feel it more than in my right shoulder. So what I'm going to do now is, it'll be very subtle, you won't even be able to notice. I'll start by using my right wrist to spin the rope a little bit more than my left wrist, and therefore give my left arm, my wrist, my left shoulder a slight recovery period. And then I'll go back to using both the left and the right wrist equally. I'm using a mat here to protect the jump rope, not my joints, the jump rope. Jump rope is quite a low impact activity. I'm not really jumping too high off the ground, and therefore I'm not putting too much force on my body. And anyhow, one of the reasons jump rope is a fantastic activity is because it helps to build bone strength. And that's because of the repeated jumping up and down. Jumping up and down forces our body to adapt and become stronger. It's like when you lift weights, the resistance, you're pulling on the bones, which helps them to become stronger. So I'm using a mat here, not to protect my joints, but to protect the jump rope. The concrete here is very sharp. It has lots of rocks built into it. The terrain is very unlevel as well. Of course, I could get off the mat, move around as I like to. So if I were just using a cheap basic PVC jump rope, as I regularly do, I wouldn't use a mat here. I would make use of the space and move around as I jumped. That said, if I was going to jump rope in basically the same place as I am doing here, then maybe I would use a mat just to protect the rope. Because some PVC jump ropes are so cheap to replace, I don't really mind if the rope gets damaged. But when you're using a more expensive rope, you want to help preserve the longevity of the rope. And a mat can help in that regard. I also actually have a cross rope, jump rope mat. I don't have it here at the moment. And it's good. But one reason I like say this basic doormat is because it actually helps to absorb the sound a little better. It has a softer fabric on top, so when you have neighbors around, this can be advantageous. It can help reduce some of the sound of the rope hitting the ground. You might be wondering how I'm able to talk and jump rope at the same time here. I'm breathing in a certain way that makes it a little bit easier. So, for those of you who have followed this channel for some time, you will know that I'm a big proponent of nasal or nose breathing at rest and during exercise as much as possible, especially if the intensity is low. I'll try to breathe with my nose in and out. If the intensity is very high, I may have to use my mouth, for example, to exhale. Sometimes even to maybe inhale, but for the most part I try to inhale and exhale using my nose at rest during low intensity exercise, and I'll even try to inhale using my nose at higher intensity exercises. But if I have to, I will exhale with my mouth. So here while I'm skipping, I'm inhaling with my nose, and then when I speak, so I inhale through my nose and then I speak. Of course the words are coming out of my mouth, so in some sense I'm kind of exhaling the words through my mouth and then I inhale again through my nose. So I've made a lot of videos on nose breathing and its benefits, and actually recently enough I wrote a book with a gentleman who is well known in the field of nose breathing named Patrick McKeown. It's a topic that he has been researching, writing about, and holding seminars for decades. And we actually collaborated on a book that was published just a few months ago, and it's doing quite well, so we're delighted about that. We're receiving positive feedback from people who have read the book and implemented the strategies, some of the strategies in that book. If you suffer, for example, from asthma, I highly encourage you to check out the work of Patrick McKeown. The first book of his that I read, and I highly recommend it to others, is The Oxygen Advantage. An American fellow named James Nestor has also written some good material on nose breathing, which you may be interested in checking out. Breathing is something we do all throughout the day, and yet perhaps unknowingly we may not be breathing in the most effective way. So something that we do so often, it's a worthwhile investment of your time to read about different breathing techniques, strategies, I believe anyways. I know it has certainly made a big difference in my life in terms of not only physical performance and fitness, but overall health and well-being. I believe I've become a far more patient individual over the last decade or so, not only because of breathing, but it certainly helps mindset too, but the way we breathe can have a big impact on how we register stress, on how we handle stress. So it can help stay calm in situations that may cause other people a greater deal of stress. So nice to be back jumping rope. So I haven't been able to do much exercise in terms of cardio except for walking since September. And that said, even walking was challenging when you're dealing with a bad injury. It can be hard. You have to do your best to work around it, but it was challenging. So delighted to be back jumping rope, and I'll just gradually be easing my way back into it in terms of how long my jump rope sessions are and what types of jump rope moves I'm using. So as you'll notice here, I'm essentially doing the same move over and over again. I'm shifting my body weight from one leg to the next, or to the other rather. I'm using a boxer skip. So I'm keeping my feet low to the ground, not jumping high off the ground. So placing very little impact on my body. But of course, you're doing this many jumps, they're going to cause your body to adapt to the activity, which is fantastic. Building stronger bones and muscles. So, although I wasn't able to do any jump rope or say running over the past several months, I was still able to do resistance training and calisthenics, such as push-ups and dips and pull-ups and lunge squats going up the stairs. One thing I like to do is, when walking up a flight of stairs, I might take 2 or 3 stairs at a time and do a lunge type of activity or motion, which is fantastic for working the butt as well as the thighs. It's really nice getting outside in cold weather like this, so I can easily see my breath. It's really, the air is really crisp, very fresh, and because I'm wearing shorts, getting some nice cold exposure going on, while at the same time not feeling cold at all on my legs. You'll notice that I'm wearing a toque, a hat or a beanie, some people call it, keep my head warm, my ears warm, and I have 2 sweaters on, 2 hoodies. I got this heavy black one on, and then underneath it, I've got a gray one. So my upper body is quite warm at the moment. My legs feel perfectly fine. Over the last week or so, I posted 2 videos. If you're new to jumping rope, or if you just want a bit of a refresher course, if you've been jumping rope for a while, it's always no harm to keep a beginner's mind, keep the fundamentals in mind, keep practicing the basics. So I posted a video for people who are new to jumping rope or who want to begin jumping rope. I share a lot of tips and techniques in that video to help make it easier to learn how to jump rope. So I encourage you to check that out. And a few days before that, I published a different video. The first video of me jumping rope in over 5 months. So as I said, I'm using a half-pound cross rope right now. Nice bit of weight to the rope. With this rope I can still do, or in the past anyways, I did quite intense jump rope workouts and sets involving double unders, triple unders, boxer double under crisscrosses, a lot of crisscrosses. So even though it's a slightly heavy rope, you can still perform some freestyle skipping with it. Although for freestyle skipping, I prefer the quarter pound cross rope. So you might be wondering what size or length is this rope. This is the 8'6" cross rope. And my height is 5'9", 5'10" on a good day. So I'm 5'9", 5'10". This cross rope is 8'6" in length. And then when you factor in the ball bearing system and the handles, you're adding a bit of length. So if I use a basic PVC jump rope, I usually skip with a 9-foot rope. But here with the cross rope, the 8'6" rope works quite well. I also have the small rope, the 8-foot rope, and given my height, it's not ideal for freestyle skipping, but a shorter rope can be good for training you to be faster on your feet. A shorter rope spins around your head a lot faster, forcing your feet to not be able to stay on the ground for too long. In fact, several of the boxing and martial art clubs that I was either a member at or had visited and worked out in, they often had very short jump ropes. For that reason, they forced their fighters to stay light and quick on their feet because the rope was rotating around so quickly. So I have no idea what time it is at the moment. I set my timer and forget it. I just stick to the process. Enjoy the moment, skip rope, spin the rope, jump over it. Let my mind wander. Of course, today I'm speaking to the camera, so my mind is a little bit more focused on the talking aspect, but otherwise, if I were just skipping here, my mind would wander. Thoughts would go in and out. Sometimes during exercise can be a good idea, good time to think about problems or things you want to do. It's amazing the ideas that can come into your mind, either during a workout or afterwards. One of my favorite times is after a workout, whether it be jumping a rope or running, for example. I often feel so good afterwards. Everything kind of slows down and my thinking can become so much more clear. I'm sure you've experienced the same. Say you had a great jump rope session, or you went for a run, or you went swimming. A period after the workout, half an hour, maybe 2 hours or so, you might just feel different. Your body, of course, might feel loose, warmed up, but your mind might have a sense of clarity that you didn't have before the workout. Could have to do with the endorphin-like promotion of exercise. You simply feel good from cardio. So after a workout like this, I'm typically in no hurry to eat or consume calories right after. I just like to enjoy that feel-good feeling that I've achieved from the workout. So I might wait a half an hour or more before consuming calories. Not all the time, but it's often something I do. I will drink water though, and I'm in no hurry to drink too much water after a workout either. It's a good idea to give your body a chance to slow down from the workout before consuming even too many fluids. If you watch boxers, for example, during a fight, they consume minimal liquid during the fight, and even afterwards, they're often not gulping too much water down. They gradually increase their water intake. So as I said here, I'm doing a boxer skip. I'm shifting my weight from one leg, one foot to the other. So right now my left foot is doing most of the work. My right foot is getting a momentary break. Now my right foot is doing most of the work. My left foot is getting a momentary break. You can perform a few hops on one leg before doing a few hops on the other.